Hello and welcome everyone to the Stardom Cast. This is a podcast. We talk about all things Stardom Wrestling. We do it a positive and what I like to think fun manner. My name is Matt Turner. I am your host for the evening, or the day, or the morning, or the evening. Depends on when you're listening. And this is episode number 80. And now that I think about it, the number 80 has special meaning to me because it's the jersey number of my favorite National Football League player of all time, the San Francisco Treat himself, Mr. Jerry Rice, the all-time NFL touchdown leader. And as I'm recording this, I'm sure Sean, as he's listening to this, the editor-in-chief, probably puts a big smile on his face because I know he is the biggest 49er fan I know. So, hey, good way to start this, number 80. So since it's number 80, we better do something special, and let's have a mega episode podcast. I did mention last week that only night 11 of the 5-star Grand Prix was up. So today we'll be going through shows 12, 13, and 14. So we have an absolutely loaded show. But before we get into that, I do want to thank everybody that came out to the Colossal Con Wrestling Show in the beautiful Poconos, Pennsylvania, in the fantastic Kalahari Resort. That was probably one of the most fun times I had wrestling in my 20-plus years career as a professional independent wrestler. Comic books, Comic-Con, and pro wrestling, literally two of my favorite things, sandwiched all in one. Is one of the largest crowds I ever performed in front of. The crowd was actually so massive that at one point somebody came in, I don't know if it was somebody from the con or the fire marshal, said, "That's it, no more people." There was just too many people in the show. So I had a lot of people come up to me and tell me how much they love the podcast, and a lot of people saying that they were just starting getting to Stardom, and maybe some new listeners listen to this. So welcome, come on in. Any questions, comments, just let me know. And this is a safe place. This is a safe, positive place where we talk about the wonderful, fantastic world that is Stardom. And again, we do it in a fun and friendly and positive manner. We don't want any bullying or any of the negativity that goes on in this world in this podcast. So, and again, before we get into the main crux of the show, and like I said, it is going to probably be a longer show, I do want to plug our first advertiser. We have our first advertiser, www.puro-tv.com. Use the discount code VISTA10 for 10% off your first order. I did make an order about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I posted pictures up of my Arisa Hoshinki DVD set. I'm sure, as most of you know, I am a collector. I collect a lot of comic books, action figures, and DVDs. I know mostly everything nowadays is streaming, and I do have a lot of streaming services, but I still like to collect my DVDs, whether it's the Marvel Steelbook cases or, whatnot. So I still do like to collect my DVD sets, and wait till if you folks have not visited this website. Again, it's puro-tv.com. Some of the DVD sets they have on here, not only just Stardom. I mean, there's a bunch of really cool Stardom stuff. They have a 2-disc Julia and Ice Ribbon set, 2-disc Julia in Stardom set. Again, the Risha Hoshinki DVD set that I got, I believe it was like an 8-disc Hazuki set. Pretty much all of the 5-star Grand Prix and Cinderella tournaments all in one DVD set. There's like an 8-hour Minoru Suzuki set. There's like, even for your old school fans, there's like stuff from St. Louis from like the 60s and 70s, but like Luthez. So I thought like that's just really cool. So yeah, by all means, when you get a chance, definitely go out and check out the website. Use the code VISTA10 for 10% off your order. Last little bit of business before we get into these 3 absolutely amazing shows from this past week is I did watch the tag match between the Just Tap Out girls of Inaba and Aoi, I'll eventually get it, versus the former Donald Del Mundo team members representing Stardom, Mirai and Micah. Absolutely loved that match. Probably about an hour after the match ended, my Twitter was blown up that I needed to see this match. So, I aim to please, so I did watch the match, and me being a tag team wrestler for the majority of the last 5-6 years of my career, I absolutely loved this match, enjoyed it. You have 4 absolutely fantastic wrestlers, and if it does pop up either on Stardom World or Daily Motion or YouTube, I think that will be a match. Like if it's easy accessible, I think maybe that's a match that we will be doing a watch along for the Red Belt tier Patreon members somewhere down the line. And just to, again, I'm not going to get into it because, like I said, I would like to do a watch along with that match. But if I'm going to give it a rating, that would be 4 3/4 stars for me. Absolutely tremendous. One of the best tag matches I've seen all year from any wrestling promotion. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Let's get into the triple main event portion of this show. So we go on to night number 12, and I'm so glad when I recorded last week. Again, like I said, I knew last week was going to be a shorter show. This is going to be a little bit of a longer show just because we have 3 shows to do. When I recorded last week, I only watched half the show, and I'm so glad that I waited to do a full review. One, I just don't want to half-ass the 5-star. And 2, you listeners, the family and friends of the Stardom cast, you just deserve better. But those last 4 or 5 matches were just absolutely fantastic, and I'm glad I just didn't read like Matsupoi beats Mayu, Cradle, next. So absolutely. So again, just thrilled to be able to watch the rest of that show, and I'm going to bring it to you. So okay, we go on to night number 12, the 4th of September. Red Stars Black, as we see Momo Kogo, who has 0 points, taking on Saki Kashima, coming in with 6. So Saki Kashima getting a few extra points there. A lot of people didn't think she would get to the 6-point mark, but hey, here we are. It's a lot of, I was looking at and again, obviously we'll get into the tail end of this podcast. There's a lot of wrestlers with some points, and I'm like kind of scratching my head out, like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But that's just the beauty of the 5-star. It's like, who are they going to push next? So okay. Saki Kashima tries to barter with Momo over her new photo book in order to get 2 points. So we get a fun little comedy segment to start, and it really kind of popped the crowd there. This doesn't go as planned, as Saki uses her trickery for the early advantage on the younger Momo Kogo. Momo hits the dropkick 619 combination for a 2 count. Saki comes back with that rising palm strike and a very well executed butterfly superplex. Momo trips up Saki and uses the La Maestra cradle for her first few points. 5 minutes, 36 seconds. This was a basic match. They got a lot out of the way with that comedy spot in the beginning. Nothing really too crazy here. But again, the psychology, everything made sense. So, and didn't go too long. So you ladies will always get the gentleman 3 stars from me. And congratulations, Momo Kogo getting her first 2 points of the tournament. Glad she's not ending this at a big goose egg since she was coming in as a substitute. Match number 2, we go to the Blue Stars block as we have the Battle of the Sayas. As we have Saida coming in at 2 points and Saya Kamatani, the Wonder of Stardom champion, coming in at 12 points. And that just shows you how loaded this tournament is. The Wrestler of the Year and your white belt champion, the second match of the show. So, really good headlock exchange between the 2 Sayas. I really like that when there's really good chain wrestling. Not a lot of holes shown in the holds, in your basic holds. So I was, really put that over. Saya Kamatani throws some really, really good solid forms. And again, I'm always putting over how much better her strikes are, especially against these solid strikers, which obviously Saida is. Speaking of which, Saida gets the advantage, and Saya Kamatani gets cut off with some brutal chops from Saida. Saya Kamatani comes back with a springboard body press for 2. Saida hits a belly-to-belly suplex and follows up with a fantastic Northern Light suplex right dead center in the ring. Beautiful bridge for the 2 count. Saida hits the Ida Rock for a near fall. That bump that Saya Kamatani took. I really think she's, and something that we'll probably have to discuss on the wrap-up with this, I think she's becoming like the new Mayu. Like, stealing the show, making the belt and the promotion and the match just mean more each and every time out. And dead set on, like, just trying to break her neck. Like, I mean, it looks like she's made of rubber here. That bump with the Ida Rock was just disgusting. Anywho, Saya Kamatani fires back with a spin kick, a pump kick, and then another spin kick combination. She fires up. She hits a Star Crusher for 2. Crowd are really, really into it at this point. And Saya Kamatani does a really good job firing the crowd up as she hits an absolute perfect 450 fire burn splash for the win. 8 minutes, 10 seconds, 3 3/4 stars. And Saya Kamatani's just fantastic run, not only in the 5-star, but this year continues as that puts her up to 12 points. Match number 3 is a non-tournament match, as we see a 3-way tag match between the team of Oh My Julia and Mai Sakurai, versus Starlight Kid and Ruaka versus Mina Shirakawa and Waka. Starts off with Mina and Julia versus Starlight Kid. It's a really, really cool, fun 3-way spots. They do a really good job spotlighting Mina after her double team moves from all 3 teams. And then we get some more Starlight Kid versus Julia, the match that stole the show at Korakuen Hall, and one of the top-rated matches, in my opinion, of this absolutely fantastic tournament. So they give us a little bit of sprinkling of there of more Starlight Kid and Julia. They don't miss a beat. They basically pick right up back where they needed to. Then Oh My Julia stuff was spot on. Their tag stuff was really, really good, and we're about a month or so away from the Goddess of Stardom tag tournament, and that is a team that I hope is going to be paired in the tournament. I think there's a lot of the Goddess tournament. I was kind of just looking at the potential tag teams there, and I'm really, really excited for it. My Sakurai hits the Gourd Buster, which he has deemed the Shining Buster on Waka. Shade under 8 minutes, 7:59, 3.5 stars. Really, really good tag match there to, kind of break up this tournament a little. We go to the Blue Stars block. We go to match number 4 as we see Ami Sourei, who had to qualify for this tournament, coming in with 8 points versus Hazuki, who was on a roll, had won 7 in a row, but on a little bit of a losing streak here, but still at the top of the loaded Blue Stars block with 14 points. Ami comes right out of the gate with a big shoulder tackle and a big splash into the corner and a half crab on Hazuki, clearly targeting Hazuki's ribs. Hazuki fires back with a springboard dropkick and her signature big boot scrape. Ami hits a beautiful overhead belly-to-belly and goes right back to the Boston Crab, the high-angle Boston Crab. At this point, the crowd is really, really behind Hazuki. Hazuki hits a code breaker and follows up with another brutal boot scrape, and then she hits the senton for just a 2 count. Hazuki goes for the signature brain buster that's been getting her win after win after win this tournament, but Ami Sourei escapes the brain buster. She hits several lariats, including the low hanging lariat, the sliding D lariat, and then hits a blue thunder bomb for 2. Hazuki eats another lariat, or at this point, Hazuki sells to the apron and she eats a lariat onto the apron, takes a big bump onto the apron, really, putting Ami over. And then she hits the tornado brainbuster into the ring, and then she hits the like a thunderbolt fire thunder driver for the win. I like how Ami had to put together a whole host of moves to get this win. Series of lariats, blue thunder bomb, the tornado brainbuster, which was kind of her signature move when she first came in. And then I think they're like, no, we're going to give Hazuki like the Liger Kawada Hashimoto style sheer drop brainbuster as her finish. You got to do something else. And she's like, yeah, I'll just do this other move that's really, really gross. And I like the name, like a thunderbolt. So really cool how she had to chain all of her big moves together to put Hazuki away. She did it in 10 minutes, 36 seconds, 3 3/4 stars. Another solid performance here from both these ladies. And Ami Sourei up to 10 points. Didn't see that coming from her. I figured she would do well in this tournament with matches and would probably get up to 6, maybe 8 points tops. But again, she had to qualify for this tournament. Now, I know in the qualifying tournament, she ran through the entire competition. But the fact she's up to 10 points here and she's beaten the pretty much what I think is the MVP of this tournament thus far and the most overall points leader, Hazuki, really shows you that they definitely have big plans for Ami Sourei moving forward. Speaking of Ami Sourei, her tag partner was in the next match as we stay in the Blue Stars block, as this is just another match I was really looking forward to. Mirai coming in with 8 points, taking on last year's finalist, Momo Watanabe, with 6 points. We get some solid grappling between the two to start, but then Ruaka creates a distraction that gives Momo the early advantage. Momo uses her signature strikes to wear down the Cinderella champion, the forearms and the kicks. Momo goes to the crossface chicken wing to try to set up the tequila sunrise, but Mirai is able to counter. Mirai goes for the lariat, but Momo kicks her arm out of the way. I love that. I will always reference All Japan, but I love it when like Masao and Kawada, or Kawada and Kabashi would go for the lariat, and Kawada would kick Kabashi's arm out of the way, and they would work that into the psychology of the match. I thought that was brilliant, and that's the psychology that they kind of went with there. And we kind of have a saying over here in Pennsylvania and probably America, hey, copy an A, get an A. But all you kids out there, don't copy your homework and tests. Go and earn it. But anywho, Momo hits the B driver onto the apron and then follows up with a bastard driver for 2. Momo goes for the Peach Sunrise, but Mirai counters into a super slick armbar. Really liked her transition, how she got into that. Momo goes for the wrench, but Mirai hits a lariat onto the apron and then a brutal lariat to Momo's back of her neck, which is something that something new that she has been debuting in this tournament. Just love how she works that in. She follows up with many, many more lariats for a 2 count, and then she comes out through up with a big Stan Hansen-like lariat for the win. I loved it. Loved how Mirai would try to hit that lariat, that first big one, and Momo countered it with the kick. And then Momo's downfall again was going to this wrench. was going to the wrench for for the advantage. We saw it on her first match with Mina, how the wrench was kind of her downfall. She goes here to the wrench again, just taking her eyes off the very aggressive Mirai. Mirai just hits a whole bunch of layers, hits the one to the back, and then hits another one. Basically kind of shaking out the pain. Again, basically using the Nigel McGuinness style psychology, and the fact that Nigel used many lariats to win is that, hey, if you hit a move, once or twice and almost get you the win, why not to try to hit it, go for it again, and might put your opponent down for a 3. Just love the psychology, love the build to this match. I had this at 4.25 stars. 11 minutes and 25 seconds gets the job done as Mirai goes up to 10 points as well. And we're starting to see a lot of people getting into the double digits here. Starting to get crowded at the top. We go over to the Red Stars block as we have Micah with 10 points versus Tam Nakano, one half of the Goddess Champions. She's coming in with 6 points. As soon as the bell rings, Tam comes out super aggressive. She hits a running violent shooting and a Steve Williams style backdrop driver. Like I said, as soon as the bell rings, Micah comes back with a thunderous clothesline and a perfect Harley Race style stalling suplex to try to create some separation from Tam's early onslaught. Tam tries to get the advantage back, but Mirai hits a stalling superplex. At that point, the crowd really gets into this one. Micah. I think I said Mirai. Micah hits the stalling superplex. Then she follows up with 2 clotheslines for 2. And then Tam reverses ducks a third clothesline, hits a beautiful release tiger suplex. That was super impressive. Micah almost decapitates Tam with a discus lariat, but Tam bounces back with a stiff spin kick right to Micah's head. Beautiful sell job from Micah, and Tam just throws that spin kick with just such perfection. And it looks so good on the tougher, the bigger, taller opponent. I think that's just super impressive. Tam hits 3 violent shootings, 1 to the front, 2 to the back, only getting the 2 count. Tam fires up as we see parts of what we're starting to call now on the intranet Tam Road, as Tam hits the stalling violent screwdriver for the win. This all got done in 8 minutes and 33 seconds. I was shocked. I saw how good this was. This was as soon as Tam hit the violent screwdriver, I knew that was the finish, and I was already writing down 4.5 stars, and that's what I gave this, 4.5 stars. But when it came up on the screen that it was 8 minutes and 33 seconds, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like this felt like it was just a longer match in a good way. They got all that done. They had all that storytelling where Tam's just trying to hit bombs on Micah. And anytime that Micah would hit, go for the clothesline or one of her suplexes, that Tam would just throw those big kicks and then go to the violent shooting several times. I thought this was just absolutely fantastic. This is a matchup that may sneak into my top 10 by the end of the year, but this is a match that I definitely want to go back and revisit sometime. Absolutely tremendous. Match number 7, we jump back over to the Blue Stars block as we have Mayu Iwatani taking on Natsupoi. Mayu coming in with 8 points, Natsupoi coming in with 6. Smooth and slick offense to start between these two. I mean, these two are just so good, so fast, so good, so fluent. Everything that they do makes sense. And then Mayu decides to chop and kick poor Natsupoi. And I kind of mentioned this to some of my friends that I don't know if Natsupoi just has like heat going into this tournament. Like Julia just beat the crap out of her. Hazuki just beats the crap out of her. Now you have Mayu, the most lovable person maybe in the history of wrestling. They have this fantastic chain wrestling and like high-speed offense to start. Then Maya's like, you know what, everybody else is beating you up, I'm going to beat you up. So it's just like, huh. And then she fires back with like the stiff, Natsupoi fires back on Mayu with a stiff low running kick. And then right into the boot scrape, the drop kick boot scrape. I absolutely love that. How it looks like that Natsupoi is going to drop kick your face into the front row. And Natsupoi almost kind of like eliminates herself from the ring. I think that's just a cool visual. Mayu tries the standing dragon sleeper, but Natsupoi bites her arm. Very heelish Natsupoi. Wow, how about that? But it's a good counter. Hey, we've seen Mayu beat Saida with that hold early in the tournament, so Natsupoi was like, not so fast, icon. Natsupoi hits a flipping power bomb, but Mayu rebounds with a super kick crucifix bomb combination that we've seen her use quite a bit to kind of get her heat back. I just love how she chains those two moves together. Some quick near falls between the two, but Natsupoi catches the icon in the rolling the Mayu straw cradle to get the win. 7 minutes, 21 seconds. That puts Natsupoi up at 8 points, ties Mayu for the block, but if it goes into a tie, Natsupoi would get the win since she did beat Mayu here. 4 stars. Another just absolutely solid match. Speaking of solid matches, we go to the Red Stars block as we have Himika with 10 points. She's really making her claim to try to get back to the finals where she was 2 years ago, taking on the champion, the World of Stardom champion, Shuri, who again, just shockingly, just coming in with just 6 points and has 4 losses. So really just kind of shocking that Shuri has been dropping so many matches. Again, this tournament, I say it every week, that it's one thing if she dropped like 1 or 2 and like had a draw, but when you haven't lost a singles match in about a year going into this tournament and you dropped 4 so quickly, kind of wondering what's going on here. But it's Shuri. You know that she's going to bounce back strong, and she sure did here because this was fantastic. Shuri starts with her signature ground and pound offense to try to take down the bigger and stronger opponent. Himika does a good job creating separation with her tackle clothesline combination to bring the champ down. Shuri is able to hit a reverse German suplex onto Himika, but Himika fires back with a big clothesline. The two trade forearms in the middle of the ring. They do a really good job pacing the forearms because the crowd really starts to come up. You could see it was at a point where they were probably going to have to stop after like 1 or 2, but then they heard the crowd coming up, so they figured, let's just make this a battle of testament of wills between the stronger Himika and the MMA style of Shuri. Himika hits a top rope Samoan drop and then follows up with the big belly-to-belly back suplex for 2. Himika quickly locks in the half Boston Crab, and then Shuri eventually gets herself to the ropes. Himika stays on the champion, hits a JP coaster for 2. Himika goes to the top rope, but Shuri cuts her off and hits the double wrist lock off the top rope. Absolutely love that. Love how she does that takedown from the top rope into the double wrist lock, and then she transitions into the sharpshooter. We've seen Shuri being able to transition in and out of submission holds. I don't know if I've ever seen her use the sharpshooter before, especially coming off the double wrist lock. Usually after the double wrist lock, it's either the straight arm bar, the white tiger, or the rear naked choke. But I thought that was really cool. She went right into the sharpshooter, or for all you Sting fans, the Scorpion Deathlock, or for all you Rock Dwayne Johnson fans, the Scorpion King Deathlock. See what I did there? Shuri stays on Himika. She goes for the ruin, and she escapes, and she hits the Rainmaker. Shuri fires back up with some brutal kicks, but then she eats a powerbomb for her troubles and several lariats. I like how she's throwing the kick a couple times, and in the words of Gorilla Monsoon, goes to the well once too often, and that basically feeds Himika the leg, and Shuri hits the brutal powerbomb. She hits a few lariats for a 2 count. Shuri fires back with some more kicks, and then she gets in the White Tiger for the tap. Again, Shuri just flirting with the time limit draw here. These matches are coming so close to the time limit draw. This 14:48, 4.5 stars for me. This was absolutely fantastic. Just a fantastic sprint. The psychology of the match made sense. This is like a perfect 50-50 match. And again, even with Shuri dropping those 4 matches, like I said, I was scratching my head, what's going on with her in this tournament, but she's putting on just some terrific matches. The Utami match is at the top of my list. The Mike and Himika matches have all been, those 2 matches have been really stellar. So yeah, 4.5 stars. And that was the main event for night 12. We go to night 13, which is the pay-per-view in the Yokohama Budokan. So I'm just going to go through the entire show, basically how it was laid out on the pay-per-view. And again, Stardom, which is another fantastic house here. Again, another over 1,300 people here in the Yokohama Budokan Hall. I thought it was fantastic. It was a great visual, the way the stage was set up, and just seeing that many fans. And anytime Stardom breaks like 1,100, 1,200, I always, it always makes me happy. Always nice seeing just Stardom just on this fantastic growth. Again, I've reported several times on the show that they're well over 200% growth. From this year to last year, and last year was a phenomenal year. Just the growth of Stardom just is absolutely tremendous. And I noticed too, the next night, the night 14, they got a lot of the matches up quickly up on YouTube. So I thought that was really good. I think only a day or so to get it up on Stardom World. So the production and everything, it seems to be, getting a little bit better. So they're definitely heading in that right direction. And obviously the marketing, merchandising, and the wrestling is just, top notch and bar none. Speaking of merchandise, I know I'm going off on a tangent here. I wanted that fancy new Azumi shirt, that Azumi High Speed Bomb Girl shirt. I ordered it from the U.S. store. I ordered it in large. I usually go large, extra large, and I got an email a day later saying that it's sold out in large. No problem. I went to go order an extra large. I got an email a day later saying it's sold out in extra large. Now, I'm not going to go 2XL or a medium. I haven't fit in a medium in, I don't know, 7, 8 years. Upper body business, brother. So it's like, wow, good for Azumi. Her shirts have sold out in large and extra large within probably about less than 24 hours of them putting the shirts up on the online store. So hopefully they will have it at the New Japan Stardom crossover show in New York City at the end of October. And yes, I have my tickets purchased and my hotel booked, so I will be at the Stardom New Japan show in New York City, October, I think it's the 27th. So if you're going to be there, drop me a line. Drop me a line, and hey, maybe we can meet up. Okay, night number 13, 9/11, the pay-per-view, Yokohama Budokan, pre-show battle royal. I did not get a chance to see this, just because I don't think it was uploaded anywhere yet, but I heard that Saida won over Momo Kogo via the Brainbuster. So we get into the main crux of the pay-per-view. Mina Shirakawa and Waka taking on the new tag team from God's Eye, Shuri and Inaba. Inaba is the newest member of God's Eye, per the last New Blood show. And again, I'm assuming with the 4 members of God's Eye for the Goddess of Stardom tag tournament, I'm assuming Mirai and Amisori will be a team. And hopefully this makes Shuri and Inaba a team, because I thought they were fantastic together. This match is really just built around Inaba. This is really just a match to get her over. We don't need to get Shuri over. Shuri's, beat it. You can see her. She's got the KT tape all over her. She's been going hard for, a year and a half. She doesn't need to have this, really anything built around her, and doesn't need to take any unnecessary bumps. So she did a good job spotlighting her tag partner and then doing what she needed to do to get her stuff in with Mina and Waka. The Ranger just like so badass. Again, Shuri's got that gold robe, even with the red robe, and the red belt. She just looks like, at the final boss. And I think that music too, when she's coming out. When she's coming out, what's going down. The crap is going down, because there's about to be an ass kicking happen. And Inaba just looks like the younger version of her, like the junior version of her, the cruiserweight version of her. I guess that's kind of, lack of a better term, what I'm looking for is just like someone that's going to kick your ass too. And she does. Like, just the two of them together on their entrance alone just look fantastic. Mina and Inaba, they worked really, really well together. Obviously, Mina's been working on her strike, so there's some really, really good striking exchange between the two. I thought this was that was pretty much the highlights of the match. And poor Waka just gets beat up by poor Shuri. I think that's like the only reason why the two of them were here, is just that Waka just get beat up and get kicked. Eventually, Inaba gets the penalty kick on Waka for the victory. Solid match. Nothing was wasted here. 3.5 stars. We go to our first 5-star Grand Prix match of the evening as we go to the Red Stars block match, as we see Risa Sera coming in with 6 points, taking on Unagi coming in with 2. Unagi attacks Risa Sera with a kendo stick, but it happens before the bell. Again, I'm all about following the rules. It happens before the bell, so no disqualification needed there. It just goes to show you just how frustrated Unagi is with this tournament. She only has 2 points going in. We're getting towards the tail end of this tournament, only a few weeks left. She only has 2 points, has next to no shot of winning. I think mathematically, I think she is eliminated at this point. Risa Sera is the hardcore wrestler coming over from Prominence, like the outsider. So I thought it was really cool. I thought that was a cool little thing that she just comes in just pissed off, all fired up. It added a little bit more to Unagi. Unagi hits the shell shock off the apron onto the floor, which is something we've been seeing her use a lot in these tournament matches. Risa gets the kendo stick and beats up on Unagi, but that happens on the outside. Sometimes they kind of let that stuff go on the outside a little bit, like, the ref kind of just gives you a warning. So again, that was okay with me. Risa hits the double knees into the corner and then a sit-out DVD for 2. She quickly follows up with the air raid crash and then the double knees, the signature double knees from the top rope for the 3 count, 3.25 stars. It was a solid match. Nothing really that stood out here. Nothing really bad. And nothing really that kind of blew my mind. It was just, I really liked Unagi being a little bit more aggressive in the beginning before the bell, and then at that point it was like Risa, once she got going, very much like some of her early matches or earlier wins, like the match she had with Micah, when she beat Micah, where she would just, got on that roll, and then once she got on the roll, you just couldn't stop her. I like how she changed those moves together, the air raid crash, the sit-out DVD, and the double knees. That's like the 1, 2, 3, like deadly combo. So that puts her up to 8 points. That's about, I think I probably pegged her around 8 or 9 points for this tournament. So, and again, we still got some more to go. We go over to the Red Stars Black, and we have Saki from Colors coming in with 4 points, taking on Himeka, coming in with 10 points. Big forearm exchange to start the match. Saki gets the advantage on the bigger, stronger opponent, uses the pendulum swing to try to wear down the Jumbo Princess. I thought that was a really cool visual, how she was able to use the pendulum swing right in the middle of the ring with over 1,300 people in Yokohama taking a look. I thought that was really, really good. Himeka uses a pair of shoulder tackles and then the Rainmaker lariat for 2. I like how she's adding that. It seems like everybody's adding just a little bit more onto their offense into this 5-star. I thought it was really cool. Saki comes back with the superplex, but Himeka, fighting spirits up, hits with a big lariat. She goes for another lariat, but Saki cuts her off with the Michinoku driver. I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool, like how, Himeka's partner, Micah, trained by Taka Michinoku. The finisher is the Michinoku driver. And I like how Saki's been using here from time to time, and she uses it on Micah's tag partner for a near fall. A lot of people bid on that. A lot of people thought that would have been the finish. Saki hits the corkscrew suplex. She goes to the top to try to finish Himeka off. Himeka fires up. She's able to cut her off and catches her in the powerbomb position. She hits the concussion bomb for 3 3/4 stars. I thought that was how Saki had that was a good way of putting Saki over in this match. How she had the latter part of the match, and she was hitting Himeka with big move after big move after big move, and then she went to the top rope and just took her time just a little bit too much, and it just took one concussion bomb to get the win. So I really liked the build-up, how Himeka built up Saki towards the finish, and then it just took one concussion bomb for the win, which then goes over to put, if you think about it, to really put over Saya Kamatani at the Stardom X Stardom show just a few weeks ago, how she hit so many concussion bombs but couldn't put the champ away. So it just took one here to put Saki away. They do a good job protecting the running power bomb, the concussion bomb, but it only took one to put Saki away. Obviously, Saya Kamatani, no offense to you, Saki. Saya Kamatani is a way bigger star. She's one of the biggest stars in the company. So if you want to not protect a move, basically have someone kick out of it or power out of it. They did a great job in that match. At Stardom X Stardom. Again, I glowed. That was an easy 5-star match for me, one of my favorite matches of the year. But I like how the concussion bomb is very well protected here with most of the members of the Stardom roster. Really good showing. And real quick, I'm getting sidetracked here. I want to put over Saki, Azumi, and Julia. They knew this was a pay-per-view. They knew this was going to be seen by a lot of people, and they knew there was going to be over 1,000 people here in this beautiful venue. And those 3 ladies, they took their tan game to the max, let me tell you. And that's something, again, I give you the insider perspective here. Again, I've been a fan 35, 36 years, something like that, and I've been involved in the professional wrestling business for over 20 years. So that's the fantastic that's the fantastic little news drops and nuggets you get here on the Stardom cast, is that something like that, just adds on to it. Just that Saki, Azumi, and Julia were all like, oh, we got a pay-per-view coming up. Let's go to the tanning booth. I don't know if anybody else took notice of that, but I just thought that was pretty cool. Way to go, ladies. Way to go that extra mile for the fans. That takes Himeka up to 12 points, and she's rolling right along here in double digits. Speaking of going extra for the fans, this next match went extra for the fans. This is where it's a solid show, but this is where everything here really, really picks up. Suzu Suzuki coming into this match with Saya Kamatani. She's coming in with 0 points. Probably the biggest shock of anything in this tournament. Even probably, I talked about just a few minutes ago, if you told me what would be more shocking, Sherry dropping 4 matches that quick, or Suzu Suzuki having 0 points, I'd probably say Suzu having 0 points. Actually didn't have a win at all. Saya Kamatani coming in at 12 points. Saya Kamatani, obviously the Wonder of Stardom champion. Suzu so desperate for a win here that she takes Saya outside for a brawl. As soon as the bell rings, Suzu takes Saya to the apron, but Saya hits a Rana to the floor. Absolutely gross. Right from the get-go, trying to counter Suzu's offense. As Saya tries to get back in the ring, Suzu hits a German suplex to the champ off the apron. That was a sight to see. It was safe though. You can see pretty much all of Queen's Quest was there to catch Saya, and she seemed to land it just okay. But right off the get-go, you just have these two, Suzu just blitzing the champ here. Obviously not for the championship here, but for 2 points, 2 potential points in the tournament. And she just blitzing the champ, taking her to the outside, gets a little overzealous. Saya hits the top rope Rana to the outside for a reversal, and then Saya tries to get back in the ring, and Suzu's like, nope, I'm staying on you, champ, and hits the German onto the outside. What a way to start this match. And they're probably, when they're putting this match together, they're like, yeah, no other match in this card is going to start like we do, so let's do this. Absolutely fantastic. Saya barely escapes the 20 count. Those are really good falsy there. You hit that big German suplex. You just had those two big moves back to back. You kind of want to settle it down here, so they did a really good job doing a false finish with Saya Kamatani, almost getting counted out. She gets in at 19. At that point, the crowd is really, really invested in this match. Saya fires back with a forearm exchange and that jumping wheel kick. Saya starts raining down forearms on Suzu. Really good back and forth exchange between the two. Saya hits a pump kick and Northern Light suplex for 2. She hits the Star Crusher, and then she goes for the 450 splash. Suzu gets out of the way, but Saya lands on her feet and rolls through. When Saya comes back up, she is greeted with a brutal super kick and release German suplex. And then she hits the guy. I guess I don't know the name of this hold, but there's memes all over the place for it. If there is a name for it, please let me know. It's basically the Ganosuke roll, but like a power bomb. So I'm just going to call it the Ganosuke clutch bomb for 2. That was just brilliant, just brutal. It's just like what a combination of holds. So the champ hits the Star Crusher. She goes for the 450, rolls through, eats a super kick, release German suplex, and that new hold, the Ganosuke clutch bomb. At that point, the crowd is really, really invested in this. I mean, they were up, but now they're really up. The crowd bit really hard in that falsy. These two brawl on the top rope until Suzuki hits the half and half slam, and then she quickly follows up by going for the Io Shirai playbook by hitting the 2 locomotion German suplexes in a row. Really, really like that. How she hits the 1 German suplex and then hangs on, rolls through, and then hits the second one for the win. This was absolutely fantastic. I did not think that this match would be topped, at least for this night. I was like, I already got my money's worth here. I knew this was going to be good. I didn't think this was going to be that good. And with Suzu getting the win over Saya Kamatani, we all hope we get a rematch for the white belt somewhere down the line before Saya Kamatani drops that belt. And, it's all speculation that she's going to drop it to Akari. Is she going to drop it to Hazuki? If she keeps this thing for another year, I don't think anybody's going to be heartbroken, because she's just on an absolute fantastic run. And again, I kind of say that. I just did the, as you're listening to this, it probably should be in your feed or be in your feed soon. I just did the Io Shirai, the V10 World of Stardom Championship reign, and there is a lot of matches she wins with the locomotion German suplexes. So I think I just recorded that, and then like the next day the show happened. I was like, oh, that's, hey, if you're going to steal from the best. Io Shirai's the best. So I like how she's been using the locomotion German suplexes in her matches lately. Just adds to the fantastic work that is Suzuki. And Suzuki gets her first 2 points. Not a bad way to rebound from a whole bunch of losses by beating the Wonder of Stardom champion and my Wrestler of the Year, Saya Kamatani. We go back to the Red Stars block as we have Battle of the Queen's Quest members. Azumi coming in with 10 points, taking on Utami, who has 8 points. I kind of figure I have Utami pegged to win the Red Stars block. My wife has Azumi pegged to win the Red Stars block, and I kind of figured this is going to be Utami, because there's no way she's going down 4. And if she goes down 4 to Azumi, really she goes down 6, because then she loses the tiebreaker. So this was like, if I was going to lock like 1 or 2 matches in that I knew that I was going to get right, I thought it'd be this one. But spoilers, I was wrong. But let's get into the match. Azumi uses her high-speed offense to get the Queen's Quest leader to retreat to the outside early on. Azumi tries the top rope double stomp to the floor, but Utami catches Azumi. I thought that was a really cool spot, how she was going for that patented double stomp to the outside. Obviously, Utami knows Azumi's tricks, so she basically jumps and gets caught. I thought that was really cool. Utami tries to suplex Azumi on the outside, but Azumi counters as Utami eats a DDT onto the floor. A little sick thud there. That was something. That was a really cool spot. Really good way to start the match. Back inside, Azumi hits the La Mystica into the armbar. Probably hear me turn the page. Azumi tries the Azumi Sushi, but Utami pops up with a big lariat, and she's trying so hard to slow down the high-speed champion. Azumi rebounds with a head kick, and then she goes for the Azumi Sushi the second time for 2. Utami finally is able to hit a big power bomb to settle down Azumi's frantic pace. Azumi tries for the torture rack. After several lariats, Utami tries for the torture rack bong, but Azumi hits the Canadian Destroyer and chains it right into the Azumi Sushi for the 3rd time. The 3rd time is the charm and the win. 4 1/4 stars. Frantic pace here. I like how Azumi just kept putting the pressure on Utami. And then anytime Utami would slow down Azumi just a bit, Azumi would then use a strike, which is kind of more Utami's wheelhouse, especially with the kicks. Azumi throws really, really good kicks to kind of get everything back on pace. And I like how Azumi, who's one of the smaller competitors in Stardom, is using the Canadian Destroyer Azumi Sushi combination to beat some of the larger and stronger opponents, basically using their own weight against them. That's smart, just adding into the just fantastic body of work that is Azumi. And again, another person that I have pegged high up on my run for the rest of the year. So I was kind of just shocked at this finish. That takes Azumi to 12 points. Utami stays at 8. We go on to match number 6. Mayu Iwatani coming in at 8 points, taking on Julia, coming in with 10 points. Julia on quite of a run after dropping her first 2 matches, has won 5 in a row. And I know this is a match that many, many of us have pegged for. This is the match that a lot of people were looking forward to in this tournament, and a match when they announced that this would be part of the pay-per-view, that this was one that drew a lot of tickets and a lot of pay-per-view buys, as we've seen these two earlier in the year go to the time limit draw for number 1 contendership, and we've seen these two have just fantastic matches in the 5-star. And quick plug, the next watch-along that we'll be doing for our Red Belt tier Patreons will be from last year's 5-star with Mayu and Julia. So really good timing for me there for picking that match at that point. Every now and again, I plan things out pretty well. So, all right, just need a little drink there. Okay, so these two come out. Obviously, you have fantastic entrances between the two. The aura, the presence between the two just adds to this match. Big fight feel. The two of them shake hands, but Julia pulls Mayu in for a big backdrop driver, and then she hits the Shining Black and Falcon Arrow for 2. She tries for the Glorious Driver, but Mayu slips out and hits a Dragon Suplex and Super Kick, and then we finally settle down. You figure these two always wrestle to the time limit draw or close to it, and I was like, man, is that what they're going to do? They're going to end this quick? I think this was just a normal, like a regular show somewhere, maybe in front of like a couple hundred people, maybe that would be here, but you're not going to do that on pay-per-view in front of 1,300 fans. But then again, I think it kind of would have worked, especially with these two. Julia uses a headlock to get the early advantage on Mayu, and she's really just grinding down the Icon, trying to slow down that high-speed, high-paced offense from the former champ. The Icon counters back with a missile dropkick, frog splash combination. Mayu gets back on top and then cuts Julia off as she locks in the octopus stress off the top rope. I thought that was cool. How Mayu, came off the top rope with the missile dropkick. She hits the frog splash. It looked like she's probably going for the double stomp. That's usually what she goes to. Julia slows her down, cuts her off. She locks in the octopus on the top rope. The balance for that, just absolutely incredible. And then Julia, while she has her up there, another move that she's added to her arsenal, paying tribute to one of her trainers, Hideki Hazuki, the butterfly superplex from the top rope. These two start trading forearms. And then they decide, well, that's not enough. Let's trade German suplexes. And then they decide that's not enough. Let's trade Shibata-style headbutts. Eventually, that slows both women down, takes both of them down. Again, that's the perfect point to slow it down, catch a breath, get the crowd back up. And boy, howdy did they ever. Crowd was really, really into this. Julia hits a wrist clutch backdrop driver for only a 1 count. And then Julia locks in the STF, getting Mayu to the top rope. The two of them brawl on the top rope. Mayu hits the top rope Rana, and as Julia goes to the outside, Mayu decides to keep the pressure on and hits that beautiful suicide dive, and then she follows up back inside the ring with a Joshi-style dropkick. Happy birthday, Shane Hagedorn. And the frog splash for 2. Mayu stays aggressive. She hits the dragon suplex for 2. She goes for the tombstone pile driver. Julia escapes. She hits the glorious driver for 2. But right then and there, the time limit expires. Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. Maybe the best match I've seen between the two. Again, I will be revisiting their 5-star match from last year, which I did see. I probably haven't seen since the beginning of this year. I went back and watched it one time in the last 8 months. But this, for me, was 5 stars. This was fantastic. And spoiler alert for the end of the episode, I have a new favorite match of this tournament. These two just absolutely can't miss. And we have our first draw of the tournament. And it comes on pay-per-view. But I don't think anybody was upset with that decision. Mayu gets to 9 points, locking Julia in at 11 points. We go to the co-main event of the evening. Artist of Stardom Championship match, as we have the champions, Oedo Tai, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Saki Kashima. taking on the Stars team of the former tag champs Hazuki Kokuma, FWC, and the current Artists of Stardom Championship. The first thing I noticed, Stars did not come out to Hannon's theme. Thumbs down for me, but thumbs up on all the new gear. Hana's getting new gear. Koguma, Hazuki, new gear as well. Nice little touch on these fantastic trio. Okay, there's a lot of notes here. A lot of notes. Let me get a little drink here because this match just blew my mind how good it was. I mean, I knew this was going to be good, but this match just kind of stole the show. Hannah goes right after Starlight Kid. As she gets really aggressive on Starlight Kid as Stars hit some really, really good triple team moves. But quickly the tide turns as Momo and Starlight Kid cut off the future Stardom champion with some really, really good double team moves from the two of them. Again, you have the former champs there. Really good job spotlighting Hazuki and Koguma as a team and Momo and Starlight Kid as a team. Right from the jump. Koguma comes in, but she gets the heat on her until she winds up eventually coming back and gets the hot tag into Hazuki. You know what I'm going to say, folks. Hazuki Mania runs wild with some fantastic exchanges with her and Momo. Stiff strikes all around between the two. These two just have fantastic chemistry together. We've seen it in their Wonder Stardom Championship match a handful of years ago. We've seen it in their tag stuff between FWC and Black Desire, and we've seen it in the single stuff with Hazuki and Momo. Their stuff is just really, really good together, and these two were laying their stuff in really, really good. The champs used some fantastic triple team work to slow down Hazuki Mania. Can you really ever stop Hazuki Mania? Maybe just slow it down. Momo hits a B-driver onto Hazuki for 2. Hana briefly comes in to cut Momo off. I really like that, how Hana's like the younger member of the team, and like Momo's like the, probably the biggest member of the, the main eventer of the Oedo Tai team. I mean, she was on top with that white belt for well over a year. So I thought that was really cool how like Hana kind of ran over Momo a little bit there. I thought that was a good job getting Hana over. We get some great FWC action as we get back to Hazuki versus Momo. I like how they brought it down and then brought it back up to Hazuki and Momo. I thought that was really good. The Hazuki driver and the Brainbuster combination is countered into the Tequila Sunrise. And then we get tag outs to Starlight Kid and Hana back to where we started. Great stuff there. Great exchange between these two. Their match from early in this tournament I thought was a unsung hero so far of this tournament. An excellent match as the two of them kind of, go back to that. Starlight Kid locks in the Black Tiger Leg Crusher submission as FWC make the save, really close to a tap there, and the crowd was really biting into that. We then see triple dives from the Stars team, and then Hana hits the Starlight Kid with the Rocker Dropper for 2. Hana's special gets broken up by Momo at 2. Starlight Kid tries the moonsault, but Hana hits a top rope backdrop driver. I thought that was really cool, how Starlight Kid goes for one of her signature moves, and Hana gets up, cuts her off, and it's the backdrop from the top rope. Big bump there. More FWC tag work as Hana hits the wrist clutch backdrop onto Starlight Kid, but Momo Watanabe comes in for the save. That's 2 saves. Starlight Kid's, she's right there in main event level. And Hana, the future Stardom champion, just turning 18, is getting all these near falls that maybe would be falls if Momo wasn't breaking it up. And then it puts over just the cohesive tag team that is Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid. Momo Watanabe, former Goddess of Stardom tag champ with several different partners. So that just goes to show you how good of a tag wrestler that she is that she does not want her team to lose. So if she has to break up a fall, she has to break up a fall. So you're putting over 2 different stories there. Really, really smart booking when they are putting this match together. Eventually, Starlight Kid and Momo hits dual head kicks. Starlight Kid finally hits the moonsault on Hana, but Hana kicks out. Starlight Kid locks in the leg crusher submission, and again, so close to the tap, Koguma makes the save. And then we go back to Starlight Kid and Hana, and then again, this was really cool how Momo, Saki Kashima, and FWC were kind of taking each other out, so this way Starlight Kid and Hana can kind of run this spot. She goes for the Tiger Suplex. Hana escapes with this phenomenal roll-up for a close fall, and again, it's another move that had to get broken up, so that's 3 times that Hana has Starlight Kid beat here. Eventually, the Oedo Tai team comes in for a triple team move on to Hana. Starlight Kid finally hits the Tiger Suplex for the 3 count. 4 3/4 stars. Again, I had like a page and a half of notes here. I mean, Saki Kashima, all of her stuff in the match made sense, but I just kind of highlighted everything here. This is a match. If you did not go see this or haven't seen it yet, please, should be on Stardom. If you don't want to pay the $40 and you want to wait for it to come on Stardom World, this is fantastic. This, again, 4 3/4 stars. Between this match and then Momo, Saki, and Starlight Kid winning the artist belts earlier in the year against Mai Himapoi, Micah Himika, Natsupoi. Those are my 2 all-time favorite Artists of Stardom championship matches. If there's one that you like, if there's an artist match that you like better than either of those matches I just mentioned, please let me know, because I would love to go back and watch it. Maybe we can do a watch along. But those 2, it'd be tough for me to rank them. It's tough for me to rank them off the top of my head. Maybe the title switch against My Himapoi, but this one is right up there. They did a great job getting Hana over here. Again, great job. I mean, somebody that doesn't have any points in the tournament, she looked really good here. And the fact that she had Starlight Kid pinned once, not twice, but 3 times, and it had to get broken up by Momo. Just a great job putting her over. And again, they put her over in this match, and then she's the one that eats the pinfall. Again, if you kind of bury somebody in a match and then you pin them, who did you really beat? The fact that she got elevated in this match and then she ate the pinfall just makes Starlight Kid and the champions look even better. We will move on to the main event, the Goddess of Stardom Championship match, as we have the tag team of Tam Nakano and Natsupoi defending against Mirai and Ami Sourei. Will the third time be a charm for the God's Eyes team? Champs quickly get the, first of all, Tam and Natsupoi, like, they have the best big match entrance. We saw it when they beat FWC for the tag belts. They came in like on the Titantron or the Videotron or the Stardomtron or the Rossitron or whatever you want to call it, with the angel's wings, and they kind of like had half wedding dresses. And this was very similar to the same. And then they had these fancy little crowns that that was very comical, that you saw that came off Tam's head when she jumped in the ring, and you see Natsupoi she just broke and started laughing. But they just feel like they're a big deal, and they are a big deal. And they get the main event spot here in front of this very large crowd. Champs get the quick advantage as they try, Tam and Natsupoi, the champs, get the early advantage. Mirai and Ami Sourei try to retreat out, and they try for their signature hand-holding dive, but the God's Eyes team will have none of that. Tam and Natsupoi get cut off, and then Tam just takes a beating from Mirai and Ami Sourei. Lots of double teams, lots of back and forth, lots of quick tags. I'm a big fan of that. Trying to keep the fresher person in, and they just constantly beating up on poor Tam, the leader, Cosmic Angels. Tom finally hits a ace crusher and then tags out to Natsupoi. Poi comes in, hits her signature high-speed offense and arm drags to build the momentum for the champs. Back to Mirai and Tam as Mirai lariats Tam's arm and her wrist, clearly setting up for the double wrist lock. I really, really like that. We've seen Mirai using the clotheslines in every fashion and the double wrist lock in every fashion. But she chained the two together. She chained the two together by clotheslining Tam's arm, and there is where you have the deep-seated psychology into this match. I thought that was really good. Mirai locks in the double wrist lock as Natsupoi pulls Tam into the ropes. I like that. I like how Tam couldn't. She was just so beat up from the early onslaught from the challengers that she couldn't get to the ropes for the double wrist lock. So Natsupoi, very much in like what Momo did at the match before, kind of had to save Tam, but instead of breaking up, she pulled Tam to the ropes, causing the break. I thought that was really good. Champs hit stereo super kicks, and then they go for their hand-holding dive the second time. It gets blocked by a pair of lariats from the challengers. The champs fight off the challengers and finally hit their big dive. Third time is a charm here, folks, for the champs. Mirai and Tam have a brutal exchange as Tam gets she's really selling the arm here. You can really see she feels like she's in a lot of pain. At this point, the crowd's really coming up and starting to rally behind, not just the champs, but really Tam here. Mirai gets Tam back in the double wrist lock. Tam gets the ropes. Ami Sourei gets tagged in, and she hits Tam with a big lariat and follows up with a blue thunder bomb for the 2 count. Ami tries for the fire thunder driver like a thunderbolt, but gets rolled up for 2. Tam hits a big head kick, and then the champs hit a top rope knee drop into the Ferial gift. I like that. I like how the two of them were on the top rope. Tam was ahead of Natsupoi. She hits the the Doug Williams bomb scare style knee drop, or like Orisa, the Orisa Hoshinki almost style knee drop from the top, going back to her 2019 Dream Shine team. And then Natsupoi coming off with one of her signature moves, hits the Ferial gift. And then Tam, she's a legal person, so she follows up with a violent shooting. She hits the 2 count, the stereo German suplexes for 2. I thought that's a really cool visual. Tam and Natsupoi have really good bridges and really good German suplexes. and Mirai and Ami Sohrei, obviously too, especially Ami Sohrei. I think she's the second tallest person on the Stardom roster behind my girl Lady C. So I thought that was a really cool visual. Tam tries for the Twilight Dream on Ami Sohrei, but she can't get it due to the hurt arm. That was really good going back into psychology. Stereo super kicks from the champs onto Ami, and then the double team sliced bread. I thought that was really cool. And then she fights through the pain and hits the Twilight Dream onto Ami Sohrei for the win. 4.25 stars. I thought this match was fantastic. But I will say this. Let me go back here into my notes. I think, 5 matches. There's 8 matches. I had 5 matches over 4 stars here. Yes, and this was usually with the main event of these pay-per-views, usually the main event is either the best match or the second best match of the show. This was like 3rd or 4th best. It was really good. 4.25 stars. I thought it was a solid title defense. First title defense between Tam and Natsupoi. But I think just the undercard was just so good with Saya and Suzu and Azumi and Utami and Mayu and Julia, and then the Artist of Stardom belts. So that just goes to show you, this is on the lower tier of the main events of the pay-per-views for Stardom this year. There might have been, 1 or 2 that I think I would rate lower than this, but yet still 4.25 stars, which just goes to show you, 1, how great the Stardom pay-per-views have been, and 2, just how great the undercard was here. But then again, you're kind of sending the fans home happy because everybody loves Tam and Natsupoi. Absolutely just fantastic show. The first 3 matches were really, really solid. And then those last 5 matches just back to back to back to back to back. Just what a way to end a pay-per-view. Unbelievable. So now we go on to night 14. As we're rolling around here, I figured this would be a little bit longer. We're coming up on an hour. And we will, this will be the last night. And this will get us all caught up. So we start off with a non-tournament match. Lady C and Hina taking on Fukin Death and Rina. However, it's the crux of this match, which is basically the sisters kind of wrestling with each other. I thought their stuff is really good. Obviously, Rina and Hina, they have a huge, huge future in this sport of professional wrestling. 6 minutes, 9 seconds, Fukin Death gets the O'Connor roll over Hina. Fine match, good way to start the show to kind of warm the crowd up. Gentlemen's 3 stars for me. We go to the first tournament match of the evening, match number 2, as Hana, the future Stardom champion, coming in with 0 points, taking on Natsupoi, 8 points in the Blue Stars block match. Natsupoi's quick offense is quickly stopped by Hana's judo background. I thought it was really cool how Natsupoi was trying to go with her quick, high-speed style offense. Eventually, Hana caught her in the judo throw, and then right into the armbar, basically slowing Poi down. I thought that was really good. Natsupoi comes back with a drop kick, and then the face wash drop kick that basically almost sends Hana into her face into the front row. Again, just really like how here's Natsupoi, the cutest wrestler, but will kick your face right off, especially with that low drop kick. Just brutal. I just love that. Hana goes back to the armbar for a near tap out. That was really, really good how Natsupoi put that move over. Poi hits a super kick and a release German suplex. She goes for the Pharaoh gift, but misses. Hana goes for the backdrop driver. Natsupoi slips out. She hits a pair of kicks and a low spin kick for the win. Something new. We've seen Natsupoi use that low spin kick several times, especially in her feud with her now tag partner Tom. But she gets the win here. 6 minutes, 8 seconds, 3 3/4 stars. Another solid performance from Hana. Again, she has 0 points in this tournament. Mathematically, I'm assuming she's eliminated, but she's coming out of this tournament such a bigger star, especially in that Artist of Stardom championship match the night before that we just talked about. We go on back to the Blue Stars block as we see Mina Shirakawa. She's on a little bit of a losing streak here. Won her first 2 matches, hasn't won since. Ami Sohrei coming in with 10 points. Mina with 4 points. Ami with 10. Ami takes Mina right to the corner and starts with the chops, the Kabashi style chops, the machine gun chops right from the get go. Eventually, Mina catches a breath and hits a low dropkick targeting Ami's knee. Cork and Hall starts really getting behind Mina here. They really want to see her get a win here. Mina stays on Ami's knee. Ami tries to use chops to keep Mina at bay, but Mina's using the strikes, those low kicks, those low drop kicks, and the figure 4 leg lock to stay on Ami. I thought that was really good. Staying on the psychology there was really, really, really solid. Again, the crowd's biting it, so why not keep going with it? Ami, eventually, after selling the figure 4 leg lock for quite a bit, She gets to the ropes and she crawls up on the corner. Mina, and I've noticed this. This is like a signature from Mina. Mina hits the roaring elbow into the back of Ami's neck and the draping DDT for 2. Like that. Really like that spot. Ami eventually hits a DVD. It's almost like a desperation DVD just to try to create separation. She can't follow up right away. Ami hits a clothesline and a Blue Thunder Bomb for 2. Ami tries for like a Thunderbolt, but her knee basically gives way. Mina slips out and goes back to the knee, back to the figure 4 leg lock, and they do a good job of tapping out right at the right time. For someone who uses a lot of submissions, you kind of have to know when to tap out. I remember I did a match with Chris Hero in ECW Arena, quick plug, and I remember he was going to beat me with the choke, and he put the choke on. He said, "Don't tap out until I tell you to tap out." And he waited till the crowd got to a certain point. He goes, "Okay, now's the time to tap out." And that's what this reminded me of. Like, she had her in the figure 4 going back to it, back to it, back to it. And then Ami's selling it. She's selling it. She was at a point where it's like, is she going to get out of this? Or is like, what's going to happen? Then Mina almost did like the Charlotte Flair, like figure 8, like bridged up a little. And then Ami held it for like 2 or 3 seconds. And then she tapped out right at the perfect time. So really good job on Ami putting over Mina, putting over the figure 4 right at the right time. And now it's all of a sudden looking at Mina. It's just like, well, wait a minute. Now do we have a new finisher for Mina? And when Mina gets done, she gives the, here in the States, when we think figure 4 leg lock, we immediately go to, woo, Ric Flair. But she immediately gives the Keiji Muta, I love you sign. And Keiji Muta would also set up the figure 4 leg lock with the low angle drop kicks to the knee. And that's what Mina did right from the get-go here, and then went back to it towards the end. So obviously we know Mina is a big fan of Jushin Thunder Liger, obviously channeling the great Muta here. So I really, really like that. Another wrinkle to the game, and Mina Shirakawa. 3 3/4 stars, 10 minutes, 42 seconds, got the job done here, and gives Mina a much-needed win, putting her up to 6 points. We go to match number 4 of this night, Red Stars block matches, a battle of the Sakis, as we see Saki Kashima coming in with 6 points versus Saki, all capital letters from Stars, coming in with 4 points. We have a distraction from Natsutora and Ruaka, basically beating up Saki on the outside. Eventually, Saki Kashima hits a head scissors and boot scrape for a 2 count. Saki counters back with a Yakuza kick and Michinoku Gyro for 2. A little back and forth action between the two. She hits the Brainbuster, the running suplex that she has pegged KA Wildbuster. So I'm not sure what the KA stands for. If anybody knows, please let me know. But this got done in 6 minutes, 35 seconds. Didn't drag on too long. Got what it needed to do. 3 1/4 stars. And that takes Saki up to 6 points. We go back over to Blue Stars block as we have the Stars duo taking on each other. Hazuki, who's started out hot, won her first 7 matches, now on a little bit of a losing streak here. 14 points versus Saya Ida, who got her first 2 points by beating Momo Watanabe. She's coming in here with just 2 points. Saya uses her power game to set up a series of chops. Hazuki fires back with strikes in their signature boot scrapes. Center of the ring, these 2 star members go and they exchange forearms as the crowd really, really getting into that. That's something that I think we all knew we were going to see and that we wanted to see, and we got it. Hazuki gets the better of the exchange, and then she locks Saya Ida into that fantastic crossface. Saya Ida stops the Hazuki Mania with the, well, I don't say stop, slow down, because you can't stop Hazuki Mania, brother. As Hazuki goes to the top rope, and Saya Ida hits the top rope power slam, follows up with a Northern Lights bomb, Northern Lights suplex, for 2 count. Hazuki escapes and goes for the brain buster. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Saya Ida goes for the brain buster. Hazuki counters with a DDT and a pair of pump kicks. She hits the Zuki driver. She goes for her signature brain buster. Saya Ida slips out of the brain buster. She has the Itabashi roll up. 1-2 kicks out. Keeps the wrist control of Hazuki. Goes for the Itabashi again. And the second time is the charm for the shock win. Shocking Hazuki. Shocking Saya Ida. And shocking the Korakuen Hall crowd here as well. As I thought a lot of people thought Hazuki would rebound from her losses. But she loses here, and loses with a smile. She was very gracious in defeat here. 3 3/4 stars. I really liked it how the finish of that match went. Like, Hazuki's getting on her roll. She's hitting her signature stuff. And Ida escapes for 1 quick roll up, keeps the wrist control, and then gets the second. Excellent match. We go on to match number 6. Oh, I love this match. Now, I didn't give this match a giant, huge rating, but I love the psychology of this match. Red Stars block as we have the two birthday girls here just a few days before their birthday, Utami and Mei Sakurai, both coming in with 8 points. I believe they shared the same birthday. Seen on Twitter, I think as of this recording, it's today, the 14th. So this match is a couple days before. Mei Sakurai offers Utami a red rose. Obviously, if you've seen the Utami match, she comes out with the red rose and gives it to a lucky fan. So gracious the former champion is. And Mei Sakurai repines, says, hey, I'm going to give the Red Queen a rose for her birthday. So I thought that was cool, but Utami falls for the trick. It's a trap for all you Star Wars fans. It's a trap. She gets the jump on the former champion and goes right to the STF. Utami fires back with a drop kick and a rear naked choke to slow down Mei Sakurai. Mei counters the clothesline into the showstopper for 2. She hits her elbow drop for 2. Utami hits a clothesline. She hits the air raid crash. After she hits the air raid crash, the way she was hooked, she had Mei Sakurai's head hooked. Mei quickly rolls up Utami for the closest near fall. I thought, now when I read the results on Twitter, I was like, Utami won, okay. But when she rolled her up, it had in my head for like a half a second. I'm like, did I read that wrong? Did Mei Sakurai win? Just for the way she was holding it and the way that Utami didn't look like she was going to get out and the way that the ref looked like he was going to hit the mat at 3. So you had all 3 members of this match. Yes, the ref is a part of your match. The ref can make a good match great, a great match excellent. In turn, they can also make a great match good, if they're kind of in the way or they're missing their cues. Obviously, the Stardom wrestler are fantastic, and this just added to the match. I thought that was really, really good. Everybody bit. I bit, Cork and Hall crowd bit, and I thought I knew the finish of this match. I was like, wait a minute, did I read that wrong? Then I do like this sequence between the so close 3 from Mei Sakurai getting the roll up here. Mei quickly goes to the Yakuza kick, which she hasn't hit all in this match. We've seen her use it quite a bit in this tournament and matches leading up to this tournament, where she uses it very much like Utami uses a clothesline or Mayu uses the super kick. She uses it as an offensive move and then sometimes uses it as like a defensive move. So she knows that she almost had Utami here, so she goes frantically for the big boot. But Utami, with the big match experience, catches the big boot, puts her in the torture rack, and then basically holds her there just for a half a second, and then she does the German suplex for the win. I think Utami was kind of like, she almost had me with that roll-up. I'm not messing around. 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Utami's the type of wrestler. I always, to all my New Japan friends, I say Utami's very much like Okada and Tanahashi. Fantastic wrestler, but if it's in any match like 12 minutes, it's just going to be good. It's not going to be bad, it's going to be good. But anything like 12 to 30, 35 minutes, you're going to get one of the best matches you've ever seen. When I saw this thing come up on Stardom World, the whole segment was 6.5 minutes, and I was like, oh, this is probably just going to be a quick squash. But the fact that they had just a quick frantic pace and just that last 30, 40 seconds where I was on the edge of my seat. 3.5 stars. Again, it's a match that's not going to finish high just because of high in my ranking. But just that ending sequence, I thought was fantastic with the near fall from Mei Sakurai. And then Utami was like, no, I'm putting this one away, and I'm getting my 2 points to put me up to double digits to 10 points. I thought that was just fantastic. And again, just goes to show you in 4 minutes, you can tell a fantastic story, and these two did. We move on to match number 7, Red Stars block, as we have Shuri coming with 8 points, going against poor Momo Kogo coming with 2 points. Momo tries to use a quick few arm drags in the beginning, but it's countered into an R-bar. You're giving Momo Kogo, God bless your soul, God bless your heart, you're giving your arm to the MMA queen here. Once she gets caught into the armbar, the Shuri onslaught of MMA style offense begins. Strikes to the back, just brutal ground and pound. Momo halts Shuri's offense with a 619 to the champ's leg, and then hits a high cross body, followed by another 619 for 2 count. Really like that build up towards her comeback there. Momo stays on Shuri with a springboard drop kick, and then hits a super kick into the neck to Peach, like that combination for 2. Shuri basically says playtime is over as she hits a big head kick, the running knee, and then some sort of crazy armbar cradle submission at 6 minutes, 31 seconds, 3.5 stars. Good on Shuri giving Momo the middle of that match. She just comes in and just brutalizes her. It's like, you're going to give me your arm, fine. I'm going to put you in an arm bar, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then Momo just chains 2 different things in a row, one move after another. Sherry kicks out. She stays on her one after another after another. And then Sherry's like, no, head kick, knee, submission. Let me take it home. Great job there. Good job, Sherry, bouncing back in this tournament. That puts her at double digits at 10 points. We go over to the Red Stars block as Azumi, who's leading the Red Stars at this time, coming in with 12 points, going against Risa Sera, coming in with 8 points. We've been seeing Azumi start off a lot of her matches with her high-speed offense to get the control and the early advantage. She tries it here, but high-speed offense does not work on Risa Sera as she counters pretty much everything that the high-speed champion does and then locks Azumi into the giant swing. That was a really, really cool visual to start the match. Azumi counters the double knee attempt right into an armbar. I thought that was really good. Nice forearm exchange. Eventually, Azumi gets a forearm exchange between the two. Azumi hits a head kick, getting Risa Sera down. She hits a double stomp that when she hit, and again, Azumi does the double stomp all the time in these matches, but the crowd like groaned. Like it was so gross, like the way that she just hit poor Risa Sera. She goes for the double stomp tree of woe, but Risa Sera suplexes her off the top rope, and she hits her signature double knees for 2. Risa hits the sit-out DVD for 2. As she whips Azumi off the ropes, Azumi counters into the La Mystica, and then she goes for the Azumi Sushi, but she gets countered into her own hold for the 3 count as Risa Sera picks up the what I'd say it was an upset win. 3 3/4 stars, 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Again, I like how Risa Sera, she starts building up, just like how Azumi, there's a tale of 2 ends of the match, or the beginning of the match and the end of the match. We see Azumi in this tournament using the high-speed offense to get the first advantage. It gets countered, and then we've been seeing Risa Sera winning her matches with, putting their moves in combinations, the double knees, the air raid crash, the sit-out DVD. She tried it here, and then Azumi kind of counters into the La Mystica, but then her counter gets countered. So I thought it was really, really good storytelling in the beginning, middle, and end between the two. 3 3/4 stars. We move on to the co-main event of the evening, match number 9. Unagi coming in at 2 points, and a new gear it looked like. Most of that gear looked black. Usually she does like the white with the pink. It looked like it was more of a darker color there. So I think that's the first time I've seen it. Unagi coming at 2 points, the leader of the faction she's in, Cosmic Angels, Tam Nakano coming in at 8. Unagi goes right after Tam's right arm, which is probably still a little banged up from the championship match just the night before. She quickly drags Tam into the apron, hits the shell shock off the apron. Unagi, again, just being super aggressive. I mean, she's just probably so frustrated. She's only coming in here with 2 points. Unagi goes for the gory bomb on the outside. Tam gets out of it. Schoolboy, whatever you want to say, and hits the violent shooting onto the floor. And then Tam quickly goes to the top rope and hits the big dive onto Unagi and pretty much all of Cosmic Angels. The two come back into the two start brawling on the apron. They trade stiff strikes and kicks on the apron. Unagi hits the two come back into the ring. Unagi hits the code breaker onto the second rope for 2. I really like how she does that. How she has them kind of tied up into the ropes there and shoots the code breaker. She follows up with a mad splash for 2. It's a move she should do more often. I know when she was future Stardom champion, she brought it out quite a bit. I'd love to see her bring that back. Tam hits a desperation release tiger suplex, and then she goes for Twilight Dream. Unagi counters with a shell shock. Tam and Unagi trade some stiff kicks. Eventually, Tam hits the violent shooting and the violent screwdriver for the win. We've been seeing Tam use the violent screwdriver so much in this tournament. Kind of her nuclear finish. 3 3/4 stars. This is really solid. 10 minutes, 32 seconds. I thought it was good that Unagi, who needed a really, really good match, they gave her 10 minutes with one of the main eventers, one of the best wrestlers in this company, and they gave her a co-main event on Korakuen Hall. I thought that did really, really wonders for Unagi here. And obviously, Tam did a really good job protecting Unagi, giving her a lot of offense, and the fact that she could have won with the roll-up or Twilight Dream, but the fact that she let her counter Twilight Dream and the fact that she had to beat her with the violent screwdriver, this goes to show that Tam really does a great job taking care of her opponents, especially her own. So again, Unagi, even though she lost here, in my opinion, she won. We go to the main event of the evening. Mayu Iwatani coming in with 9 points. Suzu Suzuki coming in with 2 points. Quick Mayu-style offense to start. Until Suzu Suzuki says, I'm not playing any more of that game. As she starts brawling with Mayu and then takes her to the floor, where Suzu Suzuki, the deathmatch queen, is a little bit more comfortable than Mayu. Quick offense between both wrestlers going back and forth. Mayu hits a super kick and then a double stomp for 2. Suzu fires back with some brutal strikes and then a big knee strike to halt Mayu's offense. At this point, crowd really coming up, really getting behind Mayu. Suzu hits a spinning Ganosuke bomb for 2 count. Crowd really bit on that for the finish. Suzu hits a release German suplex. Mayu pops up. She hits a dragon suplex of her own. These two trade super kicks back and forth. Suzu hits the half and half slam for 2. Suzu hits the 1 German suplex, goes for the second. If anybody's going to know how to counter one of Io Shirai's go-to finishing holds from back in her Stardom days, it would be her Thunder Rock partner and her biggest rival, Mayu Iwatani, as she goes for the second one. But Mayu rolls her up for the win. 4.5 stars, 10 minutes, 52 seconds. That takes Mayu up to 11 points. And again, Suzu Suzuki got that big win over Saya Kamitani. I thought maybe she would go on a roll here, but she did not. She did not. So that does it here, folks. That is 3 shows down here in about an hour and 15 minutes. Just a couple quick things before we call it a show. We're going to go over what the standings are after night 14. Blue Stars block. We have Hazuki at 14, still leading the block, even though 3 straight losses. Saya Kamitani right behind her at 12, and then Mayu and Julia both at 11 points, and there's no tiebreaker between the two of them because they went to a time limit draw. Natsupoi at 10 points, Mirai at 10 points, Ami Sori at 10 points. Nobody at 8 points. We got Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe, and Mina Shirakawa all at 6 points. Saya Ida at 4 points, Suzu Suzuki at 2 points, Hanan at 0. My guess would be going into the final night that Julia will be 1 point behind either Saya Kamitani and or Hazuki, and I think her match with Suzu Suzuki will be Suzu Suzuki. Say that 3 times fast after you've been podcasting for an hour and 20 minutes. My guess would be that Julia's just going to be 1 point behind either Hazuki or Saya Kamitani, and her match with Suzu Suzuki, her rival, will be the main event, meaning that if Julia has a time limit draw, because she lost to Hazuki, Julia has a time limit draw that she'll just tie her and Hazuki will win the tiebreaker. If she loses, obviously Hazuki will go through. If she wins, she will go through. So my prediction here, I think, will still stay strong. I think Julia wins the block by beating Suzu Suzuki on the final night and winning it by 1 point. We go over to the Red Stars block, and this is just crazy. Azumi and Himeka tied with 12 at the top of the block, but look at all this tied at 10. Just 1 win behind. Utami, 10 points. Risa Sera, 10 points. Shuri, 10 points. Maika, 10 points. Tam Nakano, 10 points. And then, not too far behind them, Mei Sakurai and Koguma, 8 points. Saki Kashima, 6 points. Momo Kogo, 2. Unagi at 2. So, and again, there's a possibility, even Mayu said after she beat Suzu Suzuki, the Corkin Hall main event, I'm at 11 points. I'm not out of contention. She's only 3 points away from Hazuki. We still have a little bit to go. So things are really, really shaping up in this tournament. The Red Stars block not as clear, as maybe the Blue Stars. Again, the Blue Stars, I think it's kind of a 4-person race with Julia, Mayu, Saya Kamitani, and Hazuki. With the Red Stars, it's kind of muddied up a little bit more. So we shall see how that how it plays out. Maybe Azumi does hang on and she wins the block. And again, on her birthday, I believe her 21st birthday, she will be going for the possibility she may be in the main event and she could win the 5-star. So we shall see. Absolutely fantastic show. Before we close this out, I will give you my top 5 matches so far from the tournament. Off the top of my head, number 5 would be Natsupoi and Hazuki. Number 4 would be Julia and Starlight Kid. Number 3 would be Julia and Hazuki. Number 2 would be Shuri and Utami. And my new number 1 is Hazuki and Mayu. Julia and Mayu from the 9/11 pay-per-view just a few days ago. Again, a lot of these matches I'm going to have to go back and revisit because I think pretty much since I've been doing the top 5, that Saya Kamitani and Starlight Kid have been in there. So this is obviously, we're going to do a giant wrap-up show where I'll give my top 10 matches and maybe my top 5 shows or something like that. But it's something that I'm going to have to kind of just go back through my notes and really peg. I'm just kind of just doing that off the top of my head. So those are my top 5 favorite matches. Before we get out of here, I just want to thank all the Patreon members. We just did the watch along this past week of the 2020 5-star final between Utami, the eventual winner, spoilers for a tournament 2 years old, against the Jumbo Princess Himika. This week coming up, I mentioned it before, we'll be doing Mayu versus Julia from last year's 5-star, and I will see which match I like better. Again, kind of just watching them almost back to back here. As of this recording, when this drops, for the white belt and red belt tier Patreon, the Io Shirai V10 Wonder of Stardom Championship reign should be in your podcast feeds. If not, it'll be there shortly. Just bear with us as I've been dropping a lot of content. Sean is just a busy man. Plus, the NFL season is starting. I think he's got 42 fantasy league teams that he has to manage. So, on top of that, it being a fantastic 5-star, see, I tie that in, 5-star father and husband as well. So, the Io Shirai episode, again, if it's not in your feed, just bear with us. It'll be there soon. And then at the end of this month, the Julia Wonder of Stardom Championship reign. That'll be in your feed at the end of this month. Again, I thank everyone so much for the support of the podcast. Go over to puro-tv.com. Take a look around, see what you like. Vista, VISTA 10 gets you 10% off your order. And I believe that will pretty much do it for me. Again, I thank everybody for bearing with me. I knew this would be a longer episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did talking about it. As you can hear, my voice is probably getting towards the end here. So I will just close it out here just by saying, hey, this isn't just my podcast. It's our podcast because we're all in this together and everybody's different. Everybody's special. Have a great day and a great night.